Mulan, The New Mutants, Antlers, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What do these all have in common? They've all been delayed. Well, hello there, Pixar and the TV shows and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not, don't forget to hit that subscribe. Today I'm just going to be talking about the movies and TV shows which have been either what the future for Disney might look like with the coronavirus. If you don't know much about coronavirus, there are some great resources. I would recommend starting your checkout with the World Health Organization. Go there. Expect Mulan in for the Chinese audience in the rest of the world without China receiving it at the same time. But I imagine the cost and lost marketing and the disruption to their schedule was a large factor in the decision at that point in time. Well, that all changed last Thursday. On Thursday, we found out that Mulan was going to be delayed worldwide, and Disney did not give us a new release date. This kind of delay is not unique to Disney. Many have simply announced that the movies are delayed with no date given. With that said, when can we actually expect to see Mulan get released? Well, that's a question that I think we would all love to know, but for today, I think we're going to have to leave it at that as there's nothing more official and no one really knows the answer as to how long of a delay this is going to cause. A while, to be sure. Now, Mulan wasn't the only delay announced on Thursday. The New Mutants and Antlers were also delayed with no release date. That poor New Mutants movie, originally from Fox, it's been delayed so many times already, and here's one more delay for the New Mutants. When it finally does come out, it will be the final X-Men movie that came from Fox. Antlers, by the way, was also an acquisition from Fox, and both of these are horror movies that were set with April release dates. And now we don't know for sure when they will come out. So what do I think about these delays? They're necessary delays. Obviously, it's always sad to see movies get delayed. Am I hoping for anything there on Disney Plus? I have no expectation whatsoever of Mulan coming out to Disney Plus. Mulan's been talked about as being one of the biggest movies of the year for what it could pull off in the box office, both because it has a big potential in the US and a huge potential in China as well. So with the two biggest markets likely to give it a huge boost, it's definitely still going to have a movie theater release. Just when that is going to happen will be the question. As for the other two, that could be more of a question. It's possible, given enough delay, that perhaps the New Mutants or Antlers will get a release date earlier than that. Antlers I can't see coming to Disney Plus, though. That would probably be a Hulu for sure. But it's possible the New Mutants might come to Disney Plus, and that would be cool. I'm hopeful for the New Mutants to be good. I just don't know for sure what's going to happen with that movie, as Fox had a bit of a spotty track record at the end of its time with the X-Men series. But here's hoping. What else have we learned about delays and production holds? Well, Shang-Chi's director has self-isolated himself over in Australia, where, like everywhere else in the world, we have seen many cases of coronavirus. That has gone ahead and halted production on Shang-Chi. When will production continue again? That's really hard to say at this point in time, because the director self-isolating is only the start of that. There are many other people involved in the production, and even the ability for a massive movie production to be able to continue shooting, considering how many people you have in one place, is a hard thing to do in the middle of the coronavirus. We also learned from CNBC that production has halted on a number of Disney's live-action movies. Although it was originally misreported as being all of their live-action productions, CNBC updated that to just being some of them, although it has widely spread from other people and other sources that it's still all. So just bear in mind that that actually was corrected to being some. Those potential productions include The Little Mermaid, Home Alone, The Last Duel, Nightmare Alley, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Shrunk. So any or all of those could already be halted in their production. And it wouldn't be a surprise to see all of these get delayed considering coronavirus and the effect it is going to have on everything around the globe. Disney had the usual to say on this kind of a halt on their productions. They said there are no confirmed cases, but for the sake of safety, they're going to go ahead and halt production for the time being. It is possible this won't lead to a delay in the actual release dates of these movies. It depends how long the halt is and at what step in the production process these movies are. It also depends a lot on what's going to happen with the rest of Disney's movies and how that might shift everybody's schedule, other production companies, and the crowd we might get on different potential release dates. Couple other recent things that popped up. Frozen 2 came early to Disney Plus back on the 15th, and Rise of Skywalker was also put out early for digital purchase. A few days early anyway. These seem to be changes based on the fact that people are not going to be heading out to go buy Blu-rays or DVDs as much now, given the coronavirus and its impact on the US and the rest of the world. It wouldn't be surprising to see other changes like this happening as well, where movies become available on Disney Plus or available for digital purchase sooner than they would have otherwise been expected in these upcoming months for the same kind of reasons. What about other movies that are still up and coming? Black Widow currently has a release date of May 1st, The Personal History of David Copperfield May 8th, The Woman in the Window of May 15th, Artemis Fowl on May 29th. 4 of them in May right there. Then also in the middle of June, we have Pixar's Soul. Then we have Free Guy at the beginning of July and Jungle Cruise at the end of July. Could any or all of these end up getting delayed? I think that's entirely possible at this point in time. We will have to see what happens as we get there, of course, but bear in mind that May 1st is a mere month and a half from now. Even the recent comment of restricting group sizes more than 50 for the next 8 weeks would already put that into about the middle of May, which would clearly impact Black Widow and the Personal History of David Copperfield. And that's assuming that that's the limit of how long that kind of a close actually happens. And we have plenty of reason to suspect that might not be it. And even if so, if you're Disney, do you want to have your major release date right as soon as the restrictions get lifted? Or do you want to delay longer than that because you want to make sure you have a good box office weekend? These are all good questions, and I honestly don't have the answers to them. None of us do. We'll have to play it by ear, and we'll have a better idea as we get further along the road. And I'll try to keep you updated as to what's going on. What about the MCU? The MCU is an interesting case. Most movies, the studio can easily enough just go ahead and delay. If we're talking about Mulan, nothing else is specifically dependent on Mulan's release. But the MCU is a giant interconnected web of different movies and now TV shows over on Disney Plus as well. If Black Widow ends up getting delayed, which seems possible, will that affect the rest of the movies and shows? Right now, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has had a bit of its production delayed because they were going to be shooting in Prague for part of the show. So they don't have that done yet, and that's the first of the TV shows coming up in between Black Widow and the Eternals. How could that affect everything else? Are the movies dependent on it? Is it going to impact other coming shows? We do know that WandaVision has actually finished its principal shooting. I suppose it's always possible, if they're not interconnected too much, that Disney could even change the order of these if needed to try to keep things on track for the MCU. But the fact is, none of us know overly well how much connection there is or how those delays will affect the ability to put out the different shows and movies. We know WandaVision will have an impact on the upcoming Doctor Strange movie. We've heard that. But beyond that, we don't know exactly what those different connections will be. And so this will be really interesting to see how the MCU gets through this okay. And I, for one, am really looking forward to these different MCU movies and the MCU shows. Heck, I did a big MCU in 2020 Phase 4 video over it, and I'm also looking forward to 2021, of course, and 2022, and so on and so forth. Love the MCU, and I'm looking forward to all of that. And I don't know what this will do to the MCU and how it'll have to flex around to make it all work, but I'm sure they will make it work. The MCU has done a great job of that so far. And that's really the extent of where I'm going to go and talk about movie and TV show production halts and the delays for today. Now, when do you think Mulan's actually going to come out? Do you have a guess? Obviously, none of us know, but I'm curious what you think. Go ahead and put your prediction down below in those comments. Well, let's go ahead and see who can get closest, right? And thanks for watching. Please give it a like and share it with your friends. And come back tomorrow for a little bit more coronavirus and Disney news. And if you haven't done it yet, click the subscribe button and ring that bell. Have a magical day, everyone, and may the Force be with you. Always.